1. We are live. Welcome to the Brand Risk Podcast. Our guest today is Professional Esports Caster Ballatew. Balla has risen to fame casting across most major esports titles at the top level. Balla has casted world championships for games such as Counter-Strike Global Offensive, League of Legends, and Dota 2, but finally found his home in casting Fortnite. Balla is also known in the community for his live streamed Vod reviews. For anyone outside of gaming, this is similar to watching film in order to improve your mistakes and learn from better players. By consuming thousands of hours of film, Balla has not only conquered the top ladders of casting, but also built up a base game sense surpassing every known professional player. His word is truth. He's not to be questioned. Please welcome Ballatw.
Thank you, man. What an introduction. Holy crap.
Wow,
I never
that was the
knew
best intro.
all these things. But
Yeah, Balla,
that's me.
before Fortnite, I used to watch you in League, casting aside, alongside Freak and such, and
Yep.
you've just been killing it.
Boys.
Yeah, good for
Thank
you,
you.
bro.
Thank
Good for you.
Yeah, I have no idea who you are. Who are you?
I'm world-renowned
Okay,
caster.
Mr. Juke
bro.
Squad.
I casted the freaking CSGO majors. Come on, you don't know me? I'm
I
up there
can't
with Golden Boy.
I can't spell CS:GO. So.
Well,
Balla, I mean, first off, welcome. We're happy to have you here. How did you get into gaming? Like, why?
I don't know, man. Like anybody else gets into gaming?
No, but like, you're old.
Damn. Okay.
No, dead ass. Though. Yeah, dead ass.
That blanket.
Dead ass. No.
No, so I mean, legit, it's a fair thing, but like gaming even goes back before.
For sure.
Like, I'm a dinosaur, right?
Right, but like,
And-
what's your main games? That's like, everyone has the game that molded them into.
Yeah. Okay, in that case, it's like Counter-Strike 1.6, Counter-Strike 1.5, like back in 2004, 2005, probably when I picked it up, and I'm like, okay, cool, this is like my hobby for sure, you know?
Right.
What was the first video game you remember playing, like as a kid?
Oh, bro, like some weird educational game, like Mama Goose or whatever. Like, I don't know. It was off
none
like
of
a
us know
CD.
what that is.
No.
Yeah, no, bro.
I mean-
I know. I just made it up. It's like one of
What
the.
a kid.
You guys have played those educational games, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
you go on a trail or whatever. Like,
No,
this
I
is,
wasn't
like,
talking
way
about
more
that.
Sus. And well, okay, so that's probably the first game I remember playing, but it was on a CD with like 100 of the best games of the time, and they all were like 5
okay.
bytes,
Right.
like small ass games. And then there's like Lost Vikings and stuff on it, a bunch of like OG real fun games. That's probably like the first memory of gaming is plugging in that CD.
Games of this day don't even match with the caliber of those games. The 5 byte games, they were
Yep. I mean, they make so many good side scrollers nowadays that it's just like, oh, okay, it does kind of match the feelings you got back then, but nothing will beat the nostalgia, you know?
So, there's rumors around the community. How old are you actually? Some people say 40, some people say 45, but
Yo, wait. Before you answer that, Arab and Dusty, what are your guesses for his age? I'll do my guess too. So Arab first.
I'll say 33.
What about you, Dusty?
I know the real age. I know Balla, bro.
Dustin
Go
knows
way
my
back.
age.
So Dusty can't answer. I'm gonna say 37.
Jesus Christ, bro. I'm not that old. What the? That's
I'm
like
just
some third scooch.
Come on.
I'm just playing.
52.
All right, Dusty, how old is he?
27. Or he's 28 now.
28, yeah.
Oh,
28.
and you're
I was only
married
off by
too,
10
right?
years.
Yep.
Okay, that's why I guess 33, because I don't want to get married until 28. I already told my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm like minimum.
like,
I've been with my wife for 10 years.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying anything against it. Yeah, I mean,
So, like-
I've been with
No,
my girl for a year and a half, so.
Like I tell my chick, dating me is a dead end. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never gonna lead to anything. Basically, she doesn't believe me yet, but give it 10 years.
I want to know also, like, why'd you switch from gaming into I mean, obviously you still play, you do well, you know, you do well in tournaments as well on top of casting. But why did you start casting? Where was that love from?
Casting has always been kind of like a thing. Like, oh, I think I could do that well. I've always like, I don't know, even back to the days of Counter-Strike, I'm like, oh yeah, I could definitely like see myself doing that. But I've always played. I've always like looked at the game very analytically, and I've always been like the IGLs for all the different games. But getting older, man, and I just like, especially with the lifestyle that we lead now, and I was working full time back last year, and my wife works full time. So basically, the only time that we had to see each other was at night, right? And that's where you need to be grinding if you want to be good at the game or, you know, competing at any sort of high level. You need to be grinding late at night, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I just like, I couldn't do that. I still can't do that. So I just dropped it and I said, hey, actually in Fortnite, like my idea was always, even though I did do those late night grinds at the beginning, that was just like to get myself to a level where I felt comfortable talking about the game.
Okay.
And I always knew though that I wanted to be on an analyst desk, especially since they announced the World Cup pretty early back in that, I think like summer of 2018 after the Pro-Am. Like, I was like, yeah, I want to be World Cup analyst. I want to be on those kind of desks, you know?
How did you get
always
to that level? Like how'd you go from like being a caster to like a World Cup like caster for Fortnite? Like I feel like that's quite the 0 to 100, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like even just being associated with Epic Games, I feel like it's difficult for a lot of people. Like it's hard to get those connections, you know?
I don't know. I feel like there's actually a pretty significant gap in casters in Fortnite, like for the most part. Especially back when I, you know, pushed myself into that area. It felt like there was nobody doing it. So
Yeah,
I just
you were the only one, the first one.
I was legit the only person casting anything,
Right.
like anything. And what I did was there's a big void in terms of being able to watch those custom matches that everybody used to do. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but like Epic had this whole replay test custom server, and that was the only time there was ever customs with 100 pros besides like the skirmishes.
Oh, I know.
They would actually give out money for it. Yeah.
Did they? They gave out money for
those?
There's
no good way to watch it. Yeah.
Was it a lot?
Money for wins and money for most kills in a game.
$100.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty lit.
But everybody was watching them when those went on.
Yeah,
it was like high viewership.
I didn't play competitive back then, and I
wasn't watching. Them. I was playing because I was insane, dude.
Yeah, you were nuts.
By the way,
fall skirmish.
I just want to point out that no, Dusty Dogs, but I just want to point out that's insane. That TwitchCon 2018, I will always remember. Young Dusty asked Balla, "Yo, Balla, what do you want to do, man?" Because I don't know if you remember Balla, but like I really like pushed you, like not pushed you, but like I put you like on a pedestal, like meaning that like I really believed in you and Bumpa back then. Like when you came into Airbnb, I was like, let's go. You guys are gonna do well in TwitchCon.
Yep.
And after making what 5K, right? Each.
Yep. 5K each.
I was like, dude, you guys are fucking nuts. You're gonna pop off. And you said like, I don't want to play competitively. Like this is all in my script. Like I want to like push myself to play competitively at a point where like people know my name and I have credibility. And then I'm gonna convert this to being a caster analyst. And like, bro, that's back in 2018. He knew that already.
I love that.
He knew that already. And he said, dude, I don't want to play competitively. I have a full-time job, a wife. I want a house. It's too risky. It's a high risk. It's too risky. And you want it to be an analyst. That's insane to me. When you said, you tweet, I don't think it's still pinned, but like you're going full-time thing. I was like, dude, that's insane. That's nuts. He actually did it. Like
yeah. That was all like a hella big risk. I mean, I didn't know that I was going to get picked up by Epic. I didn't know any of that stuff, but I was just like, this was when I was still doing the customs cast basically, and they were popping off. And I was like, oh, people actually enjoy my casting. I didn't necessarily think that I had the voice for it, but I was just doing it because I was doing all the VOD reviews and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, might as well give it a shot and see if people like it. And they did. So I was like, let's go for it. Just do it. And it worked out.
Did you go full time? Did you go full time before you got hired with Epic, right?
Yep.
How did you have that talk with your wife?
Numbers, fear. Just straight up, like it was.
'Cause
It was
that's-
always like, because so here's the thing, right? Back in probably what was it, December? No, November, October. I was like, when we were about to go to TwitchCon, actually, this was already the conversation way back then, 6 months before I went full time. It was like, you have to spend. She was basically coming at me with the like, this is taking way too much time. Like, you're taking up all your nights and stuff like that. Like, this isn't going to work out. And I'm like, well, I really think that I have at that point, my numbers were still were growing pretty significantly. Like, my YouTube is growing. Everything was looking good, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is the future. My screen just cut out. No, we're good.
I just
Sorry.
tweeted and tagged
My
you.
PC just
Maybe it
turned
did.
off. But at that point, it was like my stuff was growing. So I was like, yeah, there's a possibility, but it's not like guaranteed right now. And so I mapped out a bunch of the different options, right? It was like, do really well at TwitchCon, get hired by Epic right off the bat. That's like the dream. That's like the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is like, do well at TwitchCon, go at it for 3 months while working part-time. There was another option that was like, go at it for 6 months while working or like dropping the job completely.
How do you go from?
I could end up going down a route where it's really good. I could end up down a route where, content is doing really well for myself and I'm making a decent amount of income. But yeah, so I basically mapped out a bunch of routes. Eventually 4 months later, it's like, here it is. There's an actual opportunity. Like, I need to do this route. And she's like, yep, let's go. And my wife's an engineer too. So it's like not, and we had a bunch of savings and stuff like that.
Right.
So
you're
crazy
right.
risk.
So you're rich.
Fallback route, all this different stuff.
People in the community love to throw that word around, though.
What?
You're rich.
So you're
I like that. That's well, that's also a big reason. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm young. I'm 22. I've only been dating my girlfriend for a year and a half, but that's why I don't even think of marriage anytime soon, because there's just so many goals that I want to pursue in that sense, and you have that limitation. I don't. Obviously, there's a relationship there, but this is my main priority. It's bigger than, like, I have to be happy as well to be happy with my wife in the future. So I have to get what I want to accomplish done as well out of the way. And like, even streaming, when over the summer, right? My parents were gone. So I had the whole house to myself. I could be as loud as I wanted whenever I wanted. So from 12 p.m. till 6 a.m. or 8 a.m., that's when everyone found me, because I was always full energy, doing some crazy shit, pumping out hours while everyone's watching. And then it got to a point where my girlfriend called me and she was like, I don't get to see you. You're streaming all the time. Like, something's got to change. And I was like, all right. So she's working from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. doing, like, taking care of patients with Alzheimer's. And I was like, you don't really see this as a job because obviously it's games, but like, it's starting to become a big source of income. But the only reason you hate it is because I'm having fun with it as well. So like, that was kind of part of the job that nobody really sees how much work there is behind the scenes, etc. But that's cool that your wife super supported that. How did you come to the realization that you wanted to stop competing and do that? Like, what you said, you told us off the podcast, I believe it was that eventually you're like, yo, I can't compete with them, or was that on the podcast? It might have been on the podcast. Anyways.
It was always my plan from the start of Fortnite. Like,
really?
I was good at the game. It was always my plan, though, especially after they announced the World Cup, like, being a thing, when they started doing the summer skirmishes and stuff like that. I was like, yeah.
But like does that hurt
I
inside?
want to do that. Yeah, of course. 100%. Like,
because there's something so satisfying.
I've been competing
about,
for 15
yeah.
years. Like, of course it's disappointing, but at the same time, it's like, sure, I was good, but the amount of effort and the amount of, like, it would ruin so many other things for me if I was to actually pursue that. And like, for you, right? You're still early in a relationship and stuff like that, where you can, chase these things before and figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Right. I've already gone past that. It was 5 years where I actually started reaching success. 5 years into, like, my relationship, where I was already, we were already settled. I was already an engineering job, all this stuff. We already figured out who we were. I can't just, like, flip that. Right?
So you were also an engineer.
Yeah.
What
yeah, so I
kind?
was
What kind of engineering?
electrical and computer
Oh,
engineering.
Oh,
dang.
that's what I'm in right now, and I hate it.
Yes, sir.
I will.
It's so
Bro,
good, man. I don't know.
I feel like the thing is like I feel like more than anything you like the industry and like you want to stay in it. You know what I'm saying? Because like one thing I found out is like when I was younger, I really loved skateboarding and like I spent a lot of time doing it, right? And I was trying to get as good as I could, this and that. And I started getting a little older, and I was like, man, I was like not old enough to where I was like, oh, I can't, skating hurts. I was like probably like 17 or 18. And I was like, the thing is, I feel like the amount of people that make it out of this successfully as like a professional skateboarder that actually make a living is obviously like I'm getting older. So I like see the reality of the situation. I'm like, it's not a lot. A lot of people don't make it out of this successfully. I was like, but a lot of people are still in the industry successfully. Like they start brands, they start clothing, they start this and that, but they're still in the game in a sense. And I feel like that's like the same thing that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you love the industry, you love gaming, and this is a good way to. And honestly, what you're doing is it gives you so much fluidity because if you are a pro CS:GO player, that's what you are. That's your shoe hole. You know what I'm saying? If you're a pro Fortnite player, like that's what you are. But when you're a caster, you can just kind of move across whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like spend some time researching the game, and then you can move from part of the industry to part of the industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's a bunch of casters and talent that do that, but for me, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that for like the amount of games that Golden Boy does, for example. Because for me,
right.
I'm like I need to know the game at a high level. I need to be passionate about it. Otherwise, I don't.
Yours is past surface level. It's
yeah. But my point is that it gives you the ability to do that if you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you're not so tethered to one game because you've spent 2 months on the game, etc. So that's cool. That's a good compromise.
For your skate thing, I feel like younger kids in Fortnite don't understand that how important it is to like expand your brand and if you want to do it, right?
They don't.
Like, bro, like you cannot compete your whole life. You're not, and bro, especially in Fortnite, they're pushing boundaries, bro. 13-year-olds can compete now. Like 13-year-olds that right now are like 15 years old, like they're not gonna be as good. And
their wrists, bro, they're all dying.
And bro, yeah, and they're so good. They're at their fucking full potential. They're popular, but they don't push out content. People are not gonna remember them in 2 years, and like they're gonna realize they.
I'm not gonna name anyone specifically, but there's like a lot of kids that like got recruited to big known teams that people would die for to be on, and they finally got recruited. And I feel like Arab was the one that said this, but maybe I'm not sure, but it was that the grind doesn't stop when you join the team. That's when the grind starts, but kids got that shit backwards. They'll join a team, get 4 to 5K a month, and just fucking stop doing everything. You know what I'm saying? They'll just go
as soon as they get dropped, they start grinding.
They don't realize there's so much more than 60K a year.
But it's because they're kids. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that. They don't know. All they see is what they see in school and what the kids at school tell them is that they're successful because they have a Gucci shirt. So that's all they care about.
Bro, and you try to push them too. Like there's so many of my friends that are on these teams that I know are getting dropped. 100%.
Dude, it's so sad when you see it too. You're on Twitter and you're like, "Oh, I just got released from." You're like, "No, dude, I told you months ago." You're like, "Shit."
Dude, I have one specific person.
I know who it is.
I've been friends with before he got signed.
Oh, I know who it is.
Watch my stream. Do you?
No, I don't know.
And I message him maybe every other week. Dude, you need to stream.
Is it a season?
No. I message him every other week, and I go, dude, you need to stream. You're gonna get dropped from your team. You don't offer anything to the team if you're not pushing out content, because like Fortnite esports is dying, and you have to stream nonstop or have a massive YouTube channel, like to keep your name up there. Yeah, dude, I'll get onto it. Does it for a day, stops. It is what it is.
Dude,
they don't understand.
Here's the problem too. Like these guys aren't used to that, and they don't like it.
But you don't
really like streaming. I don't really like
right. I get that. I agree with that. But I'm trying to help them understand that they have a lifetime opportunity here, and they have a year to make it work, and they're not. They don't care. They're copping a bag and they're leaving. And that's okay. They're gonna go to college. They're gonna get a job they hate, etc. But also, you don't even have to create content like somebody like me is, or someone like Edwin or Dusty is. It's you need to pull up your stream. You can turn your mic off if you want. You just need to be recording because someone wants to watch your gameplay and your team wants to see, hey, he's got an ethic for this. You literally don't even have to read your chat. I've seen some streamers in League of Legends where they have days or weeks where they don't even turn on their chat. Like Night Blue 3, if you know who that is. He used to do this thing, one of the biggest League of Legends streamers, used to do this thing where he would go for a few days without even reading chat. No mic, he would just grind, and people would watch. 5,000 viewers, they would watch. No camera, no mic, nothing. People want to see that, especially when you're a top player, and that doesn't require that content creation aspect. It's just, hey, look, there's a green square on my OBS. That's all it is.
People called for World Cup, right? Their streams started popping off. Then they stop. They don't want to leak strats. They have streaming. That's the thing with stream anxiety, bro. Like people complain, oh yeah, I have stream anxiety. Of course you have stream anxiety because you never fucking stream. Like it's not gonna go away if you stop streaming because it's gonna go away if you fight through it.
Dude, even if you stream all the time, you still get stream anxiety. But like it's one of those things where like whatever we're saying, like you know, you have 1 year to make it work, and like the kids don't like making content, they don't like streaming, this and that. But the thing is, like it goes from being a hobby to a job real quick, and if you don't treat something like a job, it's going to go back to being a hobby. You get what I'm saying? Like, dude, like the thing is, like as much as sometimes I don't want to stream, or as much as sometimes, you know, I don't want to play Fortnite, like I still do it because it's like you're clocking in, you're putting in the work, you're putting in the time, and that's what it is after a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, would you rather be like, oh, I don't want to play Fortnite tonight, or oh, I don't want to get up for my 9 to 5 that I'm gonna do for the rest of my life? You get what I'm saying? It's
right,
like,
exactly.
It's like what's really worse to you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you want this to be your job, if you're willing to put up with this as your daily struggle for the rest of your life, then you need to actually grind at it. You know what I'm saying?
There's
like,
so privilege. There's so
people,
privileged early
yeah,
on.
kids don't understand. They think that the money's gonna keep coming, and the other thing they don't understand is return on investments for these companies are giving them all this money. Like why do you think a company's giving you $4,000 a month for your 150 views? You know what I'm saying? Like they see something in you. They're not paying you for what you are now, they're paying you for what you could become. You know what I'm saying? And they don't get that. They just take the money and fucking sit on their ass. Unlucky.
Yeah.
That was well explained.
I was gonna ask you about your engineering job. Did you like that, and what did you do in that?
So I worked at a medical device startup company, and I worked at a industrial manufacturing equipment company that made like stuff to make cell phones and stuff like that, like electronic valves to make sure this stuff
like
is
PCBs
automated
and stuff
like that. Yeah, so I designed the PCBs, the boards that go inside the products to yeah, that was basically it. I liked it. I liked it at the start, and I liked it when my work was fresh and new. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. But when my work was repetitive and when my work was like,
and that's what it becomes in those industries.
That's what it becomes.
That's why I try to preach that to look. The reason, like I hate, man, when I sit in my computer engineering class and I hear all these people talk about their goals, and you know, like power to them. Sure, like our industry has different goals, right? Like I'm attracted more to that, like all these people wanting to grow a massive social and a following or whatever it is. But all the people in the actual class, their goals are like, hey, I want to get an internship for a year at UPS or FedEx, and then grind the way to the top, and after 5 years I'll get a promotion and I'll get a raise, and then like another 5 years and like 15 or 20 years.
Do people
down
actually
the road.
like talk like that to
yes.
you? I've never had.
Yes,
like,
bro.
Really?
Yes.
What the fuck?
Balla, this
even
is how they
school,
think.
Even at my job, I never
Balla,
had.
some of these people, they're actual geniuses. Like this kid, there's this one kid. He's our senior project leader. He knows everything. Every single thing you can think of with a computer, he can make or code and his ideas. He wants to go and work for somebody for 15 years. I was like, bro, go work for somebody for 5 years. Save your money.
Chill.
Save your money and start $1 billion company. Like,
But
Yeah.
the thing is, people like that don't think like that. You know, there's a reason why they always say the A students always work for the C students. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's the
People want
reality in a
security.
lot of cases. You know what I'm saying? It's just like some people just like the process and they're not very good at being business minded. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
I'm not gonna mention any names or whatever, but like it goes back to the whole like being a Fortnite pro. There's a lot of pros that are out here fumbling you know, opportunities just because they're not businessmen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what you have to be, you know, because this is all a business, you know.
people
You need
people like
ambition.
security.
Yeah.
Pe-
Yeah.
People like security. They want to know. Like some people just want a normal life. They want to work for their retirement, and then retirement, enjoying their lives with their savings, and that's it. Like taking risks in life is kind of hard. There's a lot of decisions that you have to make, and some people
Bro,
just don't want to go through that process.
you know what I found out like literally yesterday? Do you know that as you get older, there's a hormone that gets produced in your body, like the older you get, the more you produce it, that makes you more risk adverse. Like you avoid risks. It's like a
Really?
parental thing. Yeah, it's like
Really?
it's because if you have kids or if you have like at that point when you're older, you're supposed to have like some sort of offspring, right? Just like nature, right? And the hormone that's released in your body makes you, like I said, risk adverse so that you can live and take care of whatever your spawn is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but humans have that.
Makes
And
sense.
I didn't know that until yesterday.
What are your
And I
thoughts,
was
Balla? Did you start like having these?
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. No, like you got to secure your future. Like that, especially if you've already gotten something, you gotta maintain the status quo and everything. Like
Yeah.
it's a thing. I don't know the biology behind it, but we as humans are like that. That's always been the way that we have been, in my opinion. But yeah, going back to the other thing, like people need ambition, and if they don't have ambition,
Right.
that's fine. Like we would be terrible if all we had was leaders, you know? If all we had was people who wanted to be leaders,
Yeah.
it'd
I
be a
like
terrible
that.
world. So we need these people too. It's not a bad thing that
Bro.
you want to just chill with the normal way that things go.
Dude, unrelated, but that reminds me of the time me and Arab were playing GTA RP and everyone just wanted to be a thug and there was no cops or no like there's like nobody else in the world. It was just all thugs. Like
And I
no,
got
like
so boring.
it's so boring, bro.
Yeah,
Like
it
that
got
literally
so boring.
since that night I have not played GTA RP.
Yep,
That's how
me
bad it was.
neither.
That's so
We
funny.
played it for 5
It's
days
funny,
and then yeah. Go ahead.
You actually see like weird situations in role games where it's like, hey, well, this is actually not how I envisioned it to go, but it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a very good point. So I have a question about your VOD reviews. Do you feel like your VOD reviews are for the higher level players or the lower level players, the mid-level players? Because the key aspect that I realize in your VOD reviews that I don't think a lot of people analyze is the idea that you have hindsight in your VOD reviews, which like
Yep.
a lot of players, especially the the lower ones that are new into scrimming, don't really realize that like you know that this is the right action because someone won in it. Obviously, the VOD reviews are great. They helped me back when I was like rising as well, but there's that level of I know this is the right action because you know that the person's winning the game or they're winning the tournament or whatever it is. So
Yep.
I just wanted to know like what your thoughts on that.
So I'll answer this two ways, right? The first is like where you think my VOD reviews are informed or at. And recently I feel like they've been significantly, lower skilled,
Mhm.
just because I've kind of run out of shit to talk
Of
about
course,
really
right.
about the game. Like it's a lot. I don't know. I'm running out of depth essentially, so
Mhm.
I end up repeating a lot of stuff and like stuff that's been in old VOD reviews.
And that happens
but-
when there's so much content. You've pumped out like
Yep.
literally thousands of hours.
Yeah. So especially when you like look at one game, or one, session of a tournament, it's like, yeah, if I looked at a couple different sessions or a couple games, I'd see, cool things that would be applicable to a high level. But when I stream, that's why I'm like, I haven't done it in a while and I'm kind of thinking of how to reorganize it. It's because I, there's only so much you could do in one game. And if I have to talk over the entire game, I'm going to point out stuff that, you know, I've pointed out a million times. And I
Right.
don't really like doing that.
Right.
So definitely got to rethink it. But yeah, hindsight is a thing. And this is kind of the reason why I don't really look at mistakes, especially when I'm looking at pro players and stuff like that. Is obviously hindsight is a reason. Number one, the biggest reason I don't, you know, look at the mistakes is I don't want to do something I wasn't asked to do. So I'm not going to review Mitro and tell him, oh, he should have placed the wall or his aim sucks or whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to do that. But number two, I feel like we get a warped sense of why certain things played out the way they did with hindsight, right? I want to look at the good things and just how to implement those into my game or other people's games, not necessarily look at, oh, I can learn from this situation right here, but you know, it's coming from a different perspective.
And that wasn't a question of your knowledge, obviously. You know, like I've watched your stuff before. I've used it in learning. I just got to a point where I was watching and it felt like it was repeating the same things, but that makes sense because there's so many hours of. So
and like the metas haven't changed, the modes that we're watching. Like that's why actually originally I never did solo cup VODs. Why? Because it was literally the same thing over and over and over. Like I could have watched the Boogo World Cup qualifying week number 1 VOD and then watched solo Cash Cup in season X. It was the legit same thing. Shadow had his own, Shockwave had his own, whatever.
Oh my god, I missed Shadow.
Stay had his own, look back, get frags. Like it was the
Isn't it
exact
technically the same thing now too?
Yeah,
Stay at his own. And,
yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. That's why I didn't do them originally, but I kind of had to. And people really want that content for whatever reason. Even though I say the same exact thing every single VOD review, people want it. It's like, oh yeah, get center zone.
So a main appeal to me for your content was that you would get the VOD. So that could be a reason. Like I would love to watch your stuff because I was like, he's gonna put in the work to get the VOD.
Yeah.
Easier to click that. Listen
Plus,
to your voice, analyze it too.
I feel like people like hearing the same thing over and over again because I feel like it reaffirms it to them because I feel like you're kind of like a forecast for the current meta. You get what I'm saying? If you're like, oh, he's doing this, and you keep saying that over and over again until that changes, that seems to be the meta for whoever's watching. You get what I'm saying?
And also, you're repeating this a different way, and that's gonna like you're repeating everything, right? But in a different like form, and until they hear it, and they're like, oh shit, I actually got to do that, right?
Okay,
like, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. So here's another thing that's kind of annoying actually when I VOD review. It's like, one technique, even though it's used once, does not mean you've seen it used like all the different ways that you can use it. And that's somewhere where I personally, that's how I learned, that's how I improved, is actually seeing things being used in different situations. Like, you know, yellowed stairs, for example. Right. I've seen it once. If you see it once, sure, you can envision all these different ways like that you can use it and when you can use it and when you can actually apply it. But for me, when I watch a pro, that is specifically like, I know yellow stairs exist, but I want to learn how he uses it, when the different opportunities are to use it. And so when I point that out in VOD reviews, though, people are like, oh, yellow stairs again. Like, okay, like obviously, because they don't get the actual intricacy or
like
detail that
ramp
I'm
rotates.
interested in.
Like aspects ramp rotates that you tweeted about yesterday.
Yeah,
I was thinking that too while he was using them. So when you tweeted that, I was like, oh shit, somebody else thought the same thing.
Yep.
You don't really see people use ramp rotates. I saw Parpy arguing with you on Twitter about it. They're like, oh mate, this has been a thing from King Hitters. You know, like
like I don't take it away from these guys because especially the pros like Parpy, like obviously he's gonna know something at a much deeper level than I am.
Even when he streams, you don't see him use that. Like you might know what it is.
Been in cash cups and stuff like that.
You might you might know what it is, but nobody genuinely uses it in 100-player stacked custom lobby aspect. Like that's because that's an extra 2 or 4 steps you have to add to your brain in a fight.
Yep.
Because you have to re-rotate it.
I think the thing that people were missing was the point was that it was proficient. You get what I'm saying? It didn't.
Right.
It was just second nature to him. It was
Yes.
smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I saw your tweet too. And I hadn't seen that before either. Yo, real quick. So Arab tweeted about us recording with you, and people were asking questions. So I have a question by Infamous, and he said,
Oh,
why don't you fix Fortnite already? Don't you work for them? Thoughts?
What are you talking about, man? We're working here. We're working here. Nah, I don't know, man. I don't freaking. I'm so sick. I'm actually like I
He
legit
can't
get
say.
tilted sometimes when
Can't
people
say.
can. Shut the fuck up.
When's the new
No, but I
season
legit
coming
get
out?
tilted when people like go with the meme of Balla, the epic employee, because
people believe in it.
you should see my fucking DMs, man. Every time there's a tournament, I'm getting DMs about the S&D tournaments. Like, fix my points. Like, bro, it's so annoying.
Right.
Bro, that's why Lumen got the fuck out of here, bro. That's why Lumen's like, I'm out.
And then Sundown took it over.
The epic employees who
Yeah.
are like actually social, social media facing have fallen back from it, bro. Except for Sundown, basically.
Oh,
Like
I've
Zeke
seen so much
never
hate at
wants
some
to-
of them. Oh my god.
Never wants to do anything with socials because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Even if he could grow, even if he could like be the personality that he is on socials, no, man, it's not worth it.
All right, I got a question here from Swifty. How long is your schlong? No, I'm kidding. Okay.
You know that.
his name
You
is
know
just
everything
OP.
about Balla, don't you?
I've seen this schlong at TwitchCon,
True.
Airbnb. No, what are your thoughts on Amethyst? Want to get some impressions here?
Oh, this will be the B-roll.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
It goes on Twitter.
That's another thing I'm sick of, but like, look, let's refresh, because I've said this a bunch of times, but essentially controller and keyboard and mouse are completely different inputs and completely imbalanced at the bare nature of them, right? It's just completely different. And to have competitions with them seems absurd to me. And to have competitions where we are specifically providing things to one input versus the other is absurd. It doesn't make any sense. So the fact that this is even an issue is annoying. I get why, but like, come on, man. If you're going to be doing this, we have to actually balance. You have to actually balance it. Otherwise, you're going to have top 4 of every tournament in the future be controller players. I swear to God.
People want them to be separated, right? They want a controller tournament and shit, and they keep preaching that. But we all know that most people complain about fucking prize pools and shit. Like, if that actually happens, that is separate controllers for like controller tournament and then PC keyboard and mouse tournament, like prize pool are gonna be much lower. So people are gonna complain about that. People just keep complaining. It's a vicious circle. There's not gonna be like one time where everyone's happy.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue.
I see Epic moving into the side of franchising rather than open tournaments. The fact that they even put a FaZe and 100 Thieves S&D tournament means they've already gone against what they believed in the
What
past
was
year
that,
and a
by
half.
the way? Like, why was FaZe and 100 Thieves?
Yeah, why them?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, I didn't hear anything from FaZe or 100 Thieves about it either. Like, they didn't really like blast it on their socials about being involved in that either.
100 Thieves
I have no clue what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, no one really
They
talked
just put
about
their
it either.
names on it, like, right? Like, there was nothing.
Yeah.
As far as I know, there was nothing.
I think in EU there was another, or was it in EU or in Asia? There was another team. It was not-
OCE had Aussie
T1.
Antics S&D Cup.
Yeah, yeah. And
I mean, but
That's happened before, yeah.
Yeah, they did like the creator cups, like,
Yeah.
like American Dad got a cup.
Heel
yeah.
Mike, Aiden.
Yeah, like they
But
all
it
got
was
their own little
putting
cup.
an org name. I think
No,
that was
it
a bit-
was
yeah.
that was
It's a
in the
big step
compete
forward.
tab. That wasn't into
No, I know it was,
yeah.
but it was the Twitch Rivals Community
Yeah,
Showdown.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually participated in that, and it made sense why it was them, because you actually had to follow them for time and have your Twitch accounts connected to join that tournament.
That was so
that
cool.
that made sense. That was very cool. That was awesome.
But like, I think it's a huge step because Epic's been so against representing orgs and just putting that out there. I mean, sure, they're wearing logos or whatever. it kind of showed, and the fact that they're working with practice server now, it's kind of showing that there's hope, and that Sundown and whoever it is behind the scenes, I'm sure you're part of it, are moving into. Well, I mean, I know you're practice server management, basically. I'm not gonna ask you to
Oh
say
no,
anything.
actually, I'm not doing anything.
Oh,
with them.
really? You're not
Besides
there?
besides like advising them,
Separate-
I don't
okay.
have anything to do with
Okay.
practice productions or their
it-
server. Like I'll cast for them, sure, but
Yeah, it just seems like they're moving towards trying to be an esport, because I think the Epic developers are starting to see how good this game is. It could be an esport for years. It's so fun to watch.
Bro, I don't understand like why just now. Do you want to know what I really think is happening? I think that the game is not doing as well as it was, and I think that now, because like, why did they release the ninja skin now at possibly one of the lowest points of the game as opposed to one of the highest points of the game? Because when the game was doing great, it didn't need Ninja's audience, it didn't need FaZe's audience, 100 Thieves audience. But now that it's not doing well, it needs to reach out to all of these other third-party audiences and bring them in and like make themselves relevant again. In that sense, I think that that's what's happening. Because, and then the other thing is too, like, along with the ninja skin, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was gonna be like 2 other icon skins of creators. It was like Loserfruit and some other guy that I don't know.
Pokemon,
And that was
also in there.
no, it
Was that
wasn't.
skin?
It was a
Greg
skin.
H.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like I don't know who that is. And, pardon my ignorance, but so they came out with the ninja skin. They came out with the promises of those 2 other icon skins. They came out with the Pokemon skin, and I think like a week and a half later, it was the 100 Thieves and FaZe thing. Like that was all like within the same like span of time, and I think that that's like a calculated thing. And the reason I say that is because a very similar thing happened in previous games, like PUBG, like H1Z1. They didn't start releasing, creator branded things or org branded things until the games were kind of on a decline. I think that's what's happening now.
But is that
You know,
is it bad that they're doing it though?
no,
it's
it's not bad, but I'm saying like I don't think that they're doing all of these things because they finally see the
Well, obviously, right?
the esport ability of the game. I think that they're doing it because they're like, fuck, we need to do something. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that they're just now seeing how capable it is. I think that now they're like, okay, well, fuck, we don't have our own big audience anymore, so now we have to actually be a part of the
I'm with
community.
you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you because I feel like the timing doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because if this was really like, supporting orgs and whatever like that, like there would be tournaments, they would be running things, and it would be actually, pushing that esports side of it. Where, by the way, all that stuff would be way more effective. So I think I agree with you where it's basically them just reaching out to their creators and trying to, pull from the audiences of a bunch of different places. Because like when you look at it, Loserfruit, who definitely grew with Fortnite and is a big Fortnite personality, barely really touches Fortnite nowadays. That Greg guy, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't do any sort of even gaming thing right now. Like I looked up his YouTube, I was like, who is this guy? He's just a big Spanish personality. I don't know. To me, I definitely agree with you.
I feel like they're pushed against the wall right now where that like they ran out kind of options to like keep their casual audience.
But I don't understand how they got to that point because they have, dude, like, and I know money's not really the thing because I've heard that Epic employees that actually like run the back ends, like the developers and shit, they have a lot of turnover because of how demanding it is, and like I totally understand that, but like I just don't understand how they got to the point of like needing all these other audiences when it was such a huge game, and if they would have just managed it better in the sense of like being more transparent and like, dude, one thing that they should have done from a long time ago was they should have just had like, okay, look, new season, here is like our proposed idea for when the tournaments are going to happen. Because like, dude, the tournaments aren't announced like ahead of time at all. You know what I'm saying? There's like very little preparation beforehand, and some of the tournaments, because of that, like the actual like events, they seem kind of like half-ass put together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they wait, dude. Like they start creating things, right? Ideas, and they wait until like there's something that comes out and they want to counter it, like Apex, like when Apex came out. Like it's kind of weird to me, like the SND thing, right? Bro, Fiber came out with a map a month ago, right? So like that means that SND tournament wasn't planned at all because SND wasn't a thing a month ago.
Yeah,
So, like,
right.
the
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
fact that they're like, oh, there's an in-game event that's coming.
Well,
We don't know, like we don't have any details yet. And then boom, SND tournament, Love and War. It's like it's all fucking made up like in 2 weeks.
that doesn't necessarily have to be true.
I don't think that makes sense.
Fiber's map maker is one of the best map makers in the world. You know, he's had some of the most features as well of his islands, and LTM, I'm pretty sure.
No, he's saying the timing.
what I'm
No,
He's
no,
saying-
no,
he's
no.
saying-
So here's what I'm explaining. So when they came out in creative, those options, Fiber's map maker.
I don't know who that
There's a
was.
truck outside.
We're chilling.
There's a truck outside. Fiber's map maker learned how to create search and destroy mechanics instantly using those parts. If you've ever seen a creative map being built, because I saw his parts firsthand, it is basically thousands of lines of code. There's signals that you can send, and certain parts such as vending machines will react to those signals. So after 30 seconds you send a signal and on channel 1, and vending machine will shut off once channel 1 signal is received. And to create this SND map, we had 20 signals. So there's like 20 signals either going to the bomb, there's a signal going to the barriers of the map, and there's just like these 20 signals laid out in the ground that you can open, and it opens a list of 1,000 options. And it literally it feels like code, like drag and drop code.
Yeah.
I just see Arab right now with his matrix going on.
It's like it's like the if this then that code, right?
Yes.
Like type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's essentially just like a massive visual flow.
Yeah.
Right, and I think I think when they came out with it in creative, he was one of the only ones to put in those hours to learn it. But Epic already had known it because the people that made it know exactly how to do it. So
if SND wasn't created, right? If Fiber didn't come out with a map, do you think they would have done an SND tournament? Because like, I don't think they would have. Really?
Yes, I think
so.
they
You
would've.
think that
Yeah.
SND was prepared even before Fiber came out with a map, or and Fiber just confirms it that like it was.
The reason I'm kind of on Dusty's side is because I remember when Fiber's map came out, there was like some essential parts that were missing that would have made S&D like way better, and then I think that they like put them in right before the tournament. You get what I'm saying? Like I heard, like I think you told me, Arab, that there's like some things that were like missing, like that would have made it S&D for sure. That he just kind of like had to like MacGyver together out of what was in creative, and then eventually they came out with the actual shit for it.
That's
I don't know. Like here's where it is for me. 2 weeks is not enough to make a creative map, especially 2 creative maps, and especially
that have no bugs.
A freaking matchmaking queue for it. You know, that doesn't take 2 weeks. That's a longer process. Yeah, I think so. I think so for sure.
My map took about a day and a half, and
that's after the mechanics were already thought out. You know?
Well, I'm saying the mechanics came out a month or 2 months before, because Fiber's map, his guy spent about 200 hours learning the mechanics. So they came out a while ago.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm saying that the way that these guys worked in terms of SND is that I don't know. I feel like those mechanics that were used
I get
to
what
make
you're
SND
saying, right?
Were put into the game. Then
that's why I agree with you, right? But
You
I'm
know?
saying you can, I'm saying now you can make a map in 2 days if you want.
Yeah, you already know how to do it.
You
already know how to do it.
Hey,
Like I'm working on the creative map right now. I made the overtime mechanic, and now I just copy and paste it to all my maps.
Right.
Like, I mean, you don't do that, but you can't do that for whatever reason. But
can I just say
I copy and paste it, right?
You can duplicate your maps, but if you have maps created already, you have to actually like rebuild it. But if you've already rebuilt it, you know how to do it. So.
Can I just say that I feel like the S&D, all that shit, was just kind of like a an in between, like a thing just to keep everyone occupied for the new season. Because the thing is, like when I heard about S&D, and even when I played it, because I've only played it a few times, I don't really think it's fun. I didn't even really think S&D back in the day was fun. I just feel like to have S&D in Fortnite is kind of like sacrilegious, in the sense of like the one thing that makes Fortnite is the building and the existence of Bloom, and it's like there's no building, and there's still Bloom.
But it was
So is
fun. Come on.
I mean,
It died
no,
out pretty quick.
I disagree. I don't like S&D, so I don't have to agree that it was fun. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I
Yeah.
agree it
But
was fun, but it died out really.
but my point
I
is,
didn't
like,
find
of
it
all
fun.
the ways to make Fortnite shine, the one way they did it right before new season was by taking away the ability to build, and I thought that was kind of stupid.
Right.
I was like, if I wanted to do that and play S&D, I would just go play a different game.
Right. I
You know
so
what
think
many
I'm
good
saying?
games.
I think the reason that you're not having fun is because there hasn't been a map that's made it fun for you yet. I think.
I just don't think I like the concept.
Oh, okay. Well,
personally.
for Dusty, I think it died out quick because you're playing the same map 1,000 times straight up. Like, there's no other maps. You get this
Yeah.
one map, and
I
I
mean,
played
you haven't
Dust 2
played
and
S&D
Counter-Strike
ever since.
10,000s of times, and I still enjoy that shit.
right.
Like,
But that you
Yeah.
started Counter-Strike with that concept, right? So it's a new concept of Fortnite. I feel like there's got to be multiple maps that you could have fun with, or just try different things.
I agree. More maps could have definitely made it more fun. But the thing, you know what I think is funny, or a prediction I have, that when the new season comes out, everyone's gonna completely forget about S&D because S&D was just a
Yeah,
placeholder
I mean, of
anyways.
course.
They're just
Of course
bored
it
as
was, yeah.
fuck right now.
But-
But it's
S&D
like, dude, the thing is though, like, okay, now I'm gonna say it. Why the fuck do they spend that much time and effort to produce something that's gonna be completely forgotten as soon
Probably
as the new
wasn't.
season? No, as soon as the new season comes out, and they haven't fixed the fucking friends list glitch. They haven't
Yeah,
given us
true.
custom matchmatching. Like, all of these things that they could improve on in the core game. There's like, no, we're gonna do S&D. You know what I'm saying? It's like, fuck, dude. Like, let me invite my friend that's name starts with a Z before you make a fucking S&D mechanic of the game. You know what I'm saying?
I think they want creative to be the future of Fortnite. I think like their thought process is that if the game is gonna survive in 2 years, it's gonna be because of creative, not because of the main game. I feel
Well,
like
dude,
because
regardless,
creative can bring so much more to the game that like it's their last resort. Like, okay, if everything goes south, creative is gonna save us.
Making
Look,
games inside of games.
regardless what their thoughts are, if I can't invite my fucking friend to the game, then I'm not gonna play anything.
Yeah,
that's
You know
dumb.
what I'm saying? Like why are the core mechanics of the actual game not working? Is my point. And they're spending all this time and resources on other shit. That was like the one thing I freaked out about the other day. I was like, because they updated the engine. Now we're on the Chaos engine, right? Well, my friends list still doesn't fucking work. You know, like
yeah.
you know.
In their season 9 AMA, they said we're planning on removing pre-edits. We're 7 months later.
I
Like, they
wish you
literally
could turn
said-
those off. Oh my god, they're so fucking
Bro,
annoying.
they said they would
it's
improve
just-
arena. They said a bunch of stuff that actually that AMA is just full of promises that never came true.
Yeah, like if
Which is
you're
why
getting
they're
sprayed
implemented.
by 1,000 people and you try to edit out, you're gonna accidentally pre-edit, and then
Yeah.
now you're
Who
fucked.
who
Now
actually
you're
uses
actually
pre-edits?
fucked. Huh?
Who
No,
actually uses pre-edits? Like, that's the
Mongrel
thing,
for
right?
a
It's-
pub clip.
Yeah,
about
for
it.
clips, that's it. Literally, I cannot think of one applicable. And maybe we're just not there yet. Maybe fucking
Yeah, it could be a skill
The-
gap.
maybe the first person to master pre-edits is just gonna be a fucking animal, but no one's done it yet, and you know it doesn't seem to be a very applicable part of the
Rotated
game.
stairs is a pre-edit, so who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're right.
I have a question about drop spot drama. Do you think it's? I mean, look, for me, the defend the farm stuff is. I mean, it's over with. Chap killed me yesterday in an elite custom, and that was the first time that I had seen him where he didn't react and say "fuck this Arab guy." You know, he just went on his way. You know, just killed us. It ended there, and that was like kind of heartwarming. I was like, oh, it's finally past the personal side. You know, I mean, I'm sure we'll never be good friends because of it or whatever it is. But like, I've also dropped all hate towards him or whatever it is that I ever had. You know, it's whatever. It happened. It's a tournament. It was taken a little bit too far, sure. But like, do you think pros in general take drop spot drama too far? Are there enough spots on the map for there to be everybody completely uncontested?
No, there aren't. And that's kind of why I push for the larger team modes, because that helps that issue. There's actually like quite a few. Like actually, how many teams were contested in Squads FNCS finals?
I think one or
I think it was
two.
just basically Frenzy Farms and
No.
Misty Meadows slightly.
Slurpee was split.
Slurpee was split, but that's not like I don't know.
That's probably split
Yeah,
because they agreed to split it in Discord or some
Yeah.
shit beforehand. So like,
I mean,
But-
that's
yeah.
smart.
I feel like no drama was as loud as this one. But yo,
Oh, of
Arab,
course.
I have a question for you.
huh?
So when you say you saw Chap not say anything about you guys, how did you have a stream up or something? How did you
Yeah,
see
when I
that
die, I
he
go
didn't-
to yeah, when I die, I go to see what they said because well, because the game before we landed on High Sky, and then we landed on High Sky. We didn't even know he goes there. I just wanted to avoid Frenzy, so we don't have a 2.0. So we just picked an island on the map. We're like, all right, maybe nobody goes here. Turns out Commandment and High Sky go there. We took their loot.
Is this your first time
They
playing
were
Elite
pissed.
or something?
I'm not in
Or-
elite duos. I don't know why, even though I placed better than everybody in there in the past 2 duo tournaments. You know?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Oh, maybe it's because you don't have your duo partner anymore.
Yeah, that is true.
Gatekeeping.
Look, about drop spots, like I think that yeah, people are a little bit too like I don't know, they feel like it's an insult when you get dropped on. I think that's wrong. It's just like alpha up and either win or let it, move. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and
basically
the
it. That's
idea
what it
there,
comes
I
down
think,
to.
is that when it's 4 good players, there's 4 good players. It's hard.
Yeah.
It takes a while to fight.
It's
You could come
detrimental
out
to both of
scuffed,
you
right?
So you have to either land on somewhere where it's uncontested or land on somewhere significantly.
But that also
weaker
brings
than
the
you, so you can
problem
just
of
wipe them.
Storm Surge.
Not really, because if you are playing FNCS squads, I think you should have a plan on how to attack Storm Surge if you're uncontested or
Yeah,
not.
it was definitely very different in Squad FNCS. If you weren't in Elite, which we weren't, it was, first of all, it was even worse than Elite because nobody wanted to fight at all. Plus, there's insane lag. The way the zone pulls the first 2 games, I actually don't want to dive into this, because it'll end up pulling Reddit people and whatever it is,
Reddit.
We love Reddit.
What are your thoughts on Reddit?
No, we don't. We do not.
Reddit's weird, man. I don't know. Like I actually have to credit a lot of my growth to Reddit. That was where I kind of started getting any sort of decent viewership, was actually on Reddit. And now it's kind of turned into like, I don't know, just a cesspool. Well, it's always been a cesspool. Reddit's always a cesspool in terms of competitive content. Not just Fortnite. Any esport, Reddit sucks. Like it's terrible to go there for the most part, but it has its positives. It has its positives in a lot of ways. There's a lot of good educational content. It's a good place to get your news. So I don't know. I'm still very much active in the Fortnite community. I try to post content so that it's not all just like drama threads and crap like that. But they're the issue for me is that Fortnite comp is not a comp subreddit. It's legit just people trying to play pubs at the best they can. That's essentially it. And if they are like talking about comp content, they're not talking about the stuff that I care about, which is like, the hardcore stuff. They're talking about Tfue, That's
Tfue!
They posted a clip of Tfue gets a 1.5k upvotes for him, like, I don't know, hitting a couple headshots. You post a clip of Commandment popping off in Endgame, and it gets like 50.
Yeah,
because he's not Tfue. Yo, listen, I have one question though. So what do you think about? And this happened a long time ago, but I feel like it really changed the paradigm of competitive in Fortnite. Period. As far as like, and the reason I bring this up is because the toxicity of the Fortnite Reddit, it probably stems from a lot of their users being younger. And my question is, do you think that it was a mistake to take the minimum age requirement to play in competitive from 16 to 13? Because I feel like that 3-year gap really hosts a lot of the bullshit in Fortnite. Because I feel like when you're older, you're more amicable. You really pick your fights. When you're younger, you just fucking, we were all in the 2012 Call of Duty
Modern
lobbies,
Warfare,
and I feel like that same those same kids that have no place to be in a competitive professional environment are now open and free to just fucking make it a
Well,
cesspool
and they're
of
making money, and
toxicity.
the argument is
They're-
always earnings check. Like,
Yeah, their ego, the money, like this and that, and it's just like I feel like if it would have stayed at 16, it would have been a lot more of a sportsmanship, like
Definitely.
handshake, like type thing. Like, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if it was a mistake, but it's definitely different. And I feel like to a certain degree, some of the bigger events should be probably, keeping younger kids out who aren't, professional. But it was a net positive, I think, because we got personalities like Benji, we got personalities like Mongrel, Mr. Savage, a bunch of kids who probably were the best players in the world got the opportunity to play. And it would have been a really weird scene where if those guys who don't forget, they would be playing anyways. They would be playing in T1, they would be playing in all sorts of, all the different community events and stuff like that. But they would be not in the big events. So it always would be, and this happened in CSGO too, like a couple kids who were just below the 16 age barrier were not able to play. And they're like, oh, the potential. But here in Fortnite, there was like legit, I could name probably 10 kids who were under that threshold who couldn't play in World Cup, who would just be like, but they're the best players in the world. So I think it was good that we were able to include those guys. Especially because Fortnite trends lower anyways. If we weren't able to include the age that Fortnite is really catered to, it would have been really awkward and a weird place for the competitive scene in general.
True.
Really, you think so?
Yeah,
Because
I think
I feel like it's like when you're a younger kid, like when I was like watching any sort, because I was really into Halo, I was really into shit like that, and when I watched like pros, I always imagined they're a little older than me. You know what I'm saying? It was always like
Right.
something to
It was
look
like one day I'm gonna
up
be
to.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like something to look up to, but it wasn't like a peer calling me that saying that I'm a shitter. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's like one of those things where you never want to meet your heroes, and like when they're your same age and you see, dude, I think that the toxicity in the younger pro scene is what breeds more toxicity in the kids coming up in Fortnite, where they're like, oh, these are how these young pros are acting. I need to be a dickhead too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I feel like they think
There's a
respect
role
is
model.
earned in this now, and it's not.
to kind of step back, I think maybe it would have been an awkward place for like a year or so, like at the beginning of competitive Fortnite. But if we kept that 16 age limit, it would have been fine like a year later. Like we'd be like, okay, cool. Mr. Savage, a year away from becoming 16, a year away from competing. Let's see if you can build up to it. But it definitely would have been an awkward place for the start, at least.
Fair, yeah.
But the toxicity issue is big, and that's
Yeah.
definitely a mistake. But like, I don't know how we can fix that anyways, because like, regardless of whether they're in tournaments or not, people are still gonna be watching Mongrel shit on people in box fights.
Yeah,
and he's still gonna be
Yeah. Oh
toxic.
yeah.
No matter what. So age limit or not, that's not stopping it.
I guess to end the age conversation, I'm just gonna say, fuck them kids. You know what I'm saying? Moving on.
Fuck them kids, bro.
Yeah. Fuck all the kids.
Fuck them. What have they ever done for us?
Balla,
all they do is fucking
I will
WT
say,
my goddamn box, bro, with their little kid fingers, bro, with their little brains that should be learning Spanish and fucking.
this is gonna be an
expose.
expose. I will say, anytime I tweet some sort of brand tweet, Balla always has my back with a like.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he gets it. He gets that it's comedy. He's not one to say too soon or delete or.
I mean, dude, you gotta understand that Balla's 28.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he comes from like his CS back in the day.
Bro, we were fucking toxic, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, dude. Actually, I quit CS specifically because that seemed.
That's why I quit League.
Like, it was too toxic for me.
Team games that you have to.
That's why I quit League, bro. That's why I quit League.
Yep.
Bro, I don't think ever.
Nah, screw this.
I don't think ever in my gaming career I was personally toxic. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I just never was. Like, I don't know.
I
You
mean,
shit talk. No, you shit talk. You don't have to be toxic.
Yeah.
Though,
I mean,
to
you
shit talk.
shit
Right.
talk, but dude, I don't know. I was never one of those kids that just like laid into people for no reason. Like,
Right.
I'm one of those people where like,
Yeah.
I feel like to talk shit to you, I kind of have to know you a little bit, or like we have to be like, I don't know, unless you really piss me off.
Well,
but
the way it was for me was like, someone shit talks, you shit talk back, you ask it a little bit, and then by the end of the game, you all laugh at each other, and then you go on your ways. It was clearly shit talk. Like, there's there's that clip, I think, of like in H1Z1. I think it might be of Ninja or somebody. They're talking
It was
shit.
Ninja.
back
It was
and forth.
Ninja and T Hump.
Was
Ninja
it?
and T Hump. Yeah.
What,
Dude, that clip
what
is
they like?
legendary.
They shit
You
talk each
fuck
other,
your
right? Back and
sister.
forth, and then they go, "All right, have a good
All right.
day."
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Lyndon. That's Lyndon.
No,
That's
wait, yeah,
That's
actually, that
Lyndon
was
T Hump.
Ninja and T Hump. That was
That's Lyndon.
that was Lyndon and T Hump.
It
Yeah.
was Lyndon and
Ninja-
T-Hump.
Ninja and T Hump was funny because Ninja just was talking shit, but then T Hump just fucking was just louder and way gnarlier than him. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Lyndon
T
and
Hump, you fucked your sister and she gave you AIDS. He's like, fucking right, I fucked my sister. Yeah. And like he starts screaming.
And it just gets more and more intense, and then they get to
And
a
then
point
they're
where
like,
they're
all right, GG.
all right, GG's, man, have a good day. All right, GG's, have a good one. And that was like the fun of shit talking. So yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like for me, it wasn't. There was a point in League where like I was a keyboard warrior for maybe a month, and I was like, what am I doing? This is so much effort. This is like
I don't know, man.
And I
I
stopped.
feel like the League community is even.
it
Down
is.
at
So
DS, bro.
the reason I quit League, so I played Fortnite right when in January of 2018. That was my first time, and I was like, this game is so much more fun. There's no headache. There's no like solo queue rank that I'm gonna get pissed about. So I started playing it. I was Diamond 1 in League. So I go back in March. I think it was March 7th, 2018, or March 11th, something like that. And I play one solo queue game, and my AD carry dies to first blood. It was a Draven. Rage quits the game, and I was like, this is why I quit League of Legends. 3 minutes in, I'm forced to sit in a 30-minute game because somebody quit. And I had like this mentality where I'd never surrender. So even if it's 4v5,
Yeah.
I'm saying no to the vote and I'm playing the game.
You know
out,
when like
so.
you're not the person shit talking, like there's two people in your team really shit talking, and you
And you try to be
want to
nice.
be the in betweener. They're like, yo, man, guys, calm down. Like we need to win the game. Keep focusing. No, guys, it's all good.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think that
Bro,
carry.
That was me.
Yeah,
Every
same.
Bro, no. I would like to say that is me in fucking Arab Chord. That is me in Arab Chord.
Yeah.
Can we just say
Yeah,
that right now,
yeah,
Arab?
I agree.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like I play it in Fortnite. Is I'm like the anti-tilter for, and trios I played therapy, and squads I'd stop everyone. Did you watch trios? My side of trios?
No, I didn't.
It was
a little
literally
bit,
therapy. It was, I had Lunas and Volri arguing.
Oh my god.
They hated each other, so they would just towards the end it became like
Shit, even
Like-
in duos. That was
like
my
to
role
this-
in duos too.
Like to this day, if those two kids ever see each other on the street, it's on site. You know what I'm saying? Valerie and
no,
Luna.
it's
Shit.
not, no, they're friends.
No, it's on site. It's on site.
Yeah,
Yeah, but see, in CS, legit, like back at the LAN and stuff, we fucking each other. That was
so as an
fucking
IGL
wild.
yourself, yeah, I know you. I assume you have to go somewhere. Well, we don't want to
No,
take
I'm
too
good.
much of your time.
You're good.
Okay, as an
Probably
IGL,
20-30 minutes.
right? As an IGL yourself, who do you think some of the top leaders in the game are? Obviously, Zate's in there, but like other than that, who do you put up there? Like your top
He's not gonna
5
name you,
list?
Arab. Like,
I don't want him
who
to
the
name me.
fuck?
I don't expect him to name me.
Quick select.
I think Chap. Sorry, Arab, but Chap.
Oh, wait, pause.
Hey! Oh,
I agree with you. I think Chap is one of the top leaders in the game. I watched a lot and learned a lot from Chap as I was building my portfolio. So it just so happened that
Chap is good at the tactical, I think, but less so at the therapy.
right.
I think Chap is probably one of the worst at the therapy part of IGLing, which
he's very
people might
stoic.
discount, but like it's actually very important. I think Booga is actually very, very underrated.
Yeah,
He doesn't actually think of himself as a leader, but he is.
right.
Who else? I'm trying to think on EU side because there's a bunch of a CRR actually
Is he?
is like
but
hella
how
good.
do you know
Yes.
that without him streaming? That's the thing. That's what it is for me. It's like,
I've seen clips and we can tell. I mean, you can kind of tell by gameplay sometimes. Like I've just talked to him a little bit and talked to that team a bunch,
right.
especially in squads. Like CRR makes some really, really good calls. Who else in the EU? I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head, but Tohai. from
Okay,
G2.
Tohaj. Is it Tohai? Is that how it's
Yeah,
pronounced?
Tohaj. I don't know. Like he's told me I said it correctly when I said Tohaj, but then I was like, but Clay calls you Tohai. And he's like, yeah, that's correct. I'm like, wait a
He
second.
doesn't want to.
So I don't know, man.
He's older,
Pronunciations
huh?
in
He looks
Fortnite's
like
is
he's
terrible.
25,
Yeah, he's
26
older.
maybe.
He's
Well,
at
that's
least
why he's in
25.
IGL.
Hey,
Let me
so
look it up
so
right now.
because of the fact that I'm not very in the comp like that, what do you, Arab and Balla, what do you guys think are the top 3 most important characteristics of an IGL? Top 3.
You wanna go
I
first?
think definitely your composure. I think the therapy part is probably like way more important than anything, and being able to actually, adapt to what your teammates are feeling, keeping the emotion in check. I think that to me has always been like number 1 in anything. Number 2 is the ability to quickly filter through information, because you don't see it all, and your teammates need to be making calls, and you need to be encouraging your teammates to making the right calls, and also even coming up with ideas. But you need to filter that quickly and make decisions, because you have only a split second to make a decision in this game, especially in moving zones. Like, you have to be quick. It has to be like, let's go, done.
Yeah.
I don't know what my third thing is. Probably actually like skill.
What about you,
You have
Arab?
to
What do
be
you think?
I'd say the third thing would be actually sticking to your decision. Like
Confidence.
yeah, confidence. So I had a big problem with like thinking, yo, let's go for height, and then being like,
Not
fuck, dude,
doing it.
that's scary. And then I realized by watching Hogman, I really like Hogman. I know he's like,
Oh yeah, that's a really good one.
Hogman is very disrespected, I'd say, in the community.
He's always been.
And I mean, coming from like same here, I'm disrespected in the community. I'm seen as a content creator, but somehow I have better placements than all these pros. I got carried to the past 3 events or whatever it is. But like the way he big dicks these random strategies, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
He just commits. He sends.
he just commits.
Bro.
He
He just commits
sends
hard
it.
as
Like,
fuck. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I know when I'm going up against Hogman. When we would fight him in squads, I'd be like, this team is fucking crazy. This is Hogman. And it would be Hogman. Because he's the only one that will do shit like that. And so, like, that's something I really respect, is going for those strategies.
Punisher is underrated too. Punisher is
It's-
underrated.
I just
Like
you don't
MVPs.
get to see that because he plays with people that aren't crazy. So
Yep.
The only
Someone
the
told
only-
me that Punisher was crazy IGL. Like, is it?
Bump up
Did Chayo play
probably.
with Punisher?
Shayo? I don't know.
Oh,
Oh
no,
yeah, he
the
did. He did play with him one time.
the only
Yeah, right?
the only people I really watch extensively that play comp is literally Arab and like Turner. And I feel like the one thing I see like Arab doing a lot that I think he's really good at is I feel you're good at delegating labor, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You're good at
Yeah.
like because I feel like there's
you
like
stay
leaders.
with me,
that-
you're in the back.
yeah, like Turner, he doesn't really do that. Like Turner's like
Yep.
good at like leading in the sense of like I'm going this way, follow me. Like you're good at like we're going this way, you do this, you do that, you know what I'm saying? Farm on the way, this and that. Like I feel like your direction is much
Yeah.
more like specific
I
and
enjoy
delegated.
leading a team. That's what my job was in League of Legends.
Yeah.
I led our team to back when I used to play League of Legends for my college. It wasn't anything crazy. They don't really have a big collegiate, but we won the second biggest LAN in the Southeast, which is the Georgia Tech LAN. And it was 2 days. We competed against 8 teams. I think there were 32 teams there. And like that, my job as jungler was to lead my team and make the plays and engage and be the one to like do those things. And yeah, and it is that. It's delegating like, yo, you're gonna do this at this time and it's gonna fucking work. And
Are you a C student?
me? Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah.
You are?
Now I am.
Okay.
Ever since I started
Okay.
streaming, I became a C student.
Yeah. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm
No,
saying
I mean, I don't think it's a bad
Go-
thing.
going back to our conversation about the A students always work for the C students. You know what I'm saying? And plus, hey, listen, man, I was a C student too. C's get degrees, baby. I graduated. You know, like that's
well,
all
I mean,
I
I
need.
had A's for my first
Yeah,
3
same,
years,
same.
and then I found streaming, and I was like, "Yo, this is."
Well, I mean, just towards the end of college, it's a known fact that like, dude, just get the C. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
what got it for me. Like I was saying, all these people with their wanting to get internships, etc., and I've never wanted to do that. But I was always a comedian to whatever it was, whatever class I was in, wherever I was, and like I'm much funnier in person. because Twitch TOS holds me back a little bit.
Yeah. I'll vouch. It holds you back pretty a lot, actually.
It holds everyone back though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, real quick, I would say that the best compliment we get, like in my stream, in my chat about the podcast is, yo, you guys are way funnier on the podcast than on stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Of course.
they're like, you guys can say words like retard. Like,
We
like,
don't
no-
hesitate.
Not
It's
even
that
that.
we don't hesitate.
Yeah, it's just that you don't have to hesitate to, because it's
Yeah.
like on Twitch, people see it as like a moral.
Yeah.
Literally, I tweeted it the other day because I was thinking in my head.
Loved it.
It's like people, these younger kids especially, think that Twitch TOS is the moral foundation of life, and it's not.
It's true, man.
It's
so
terms of
true.
service that they've enabled so that they can get advertisers in a cancel culture world where people
Hey,
don't
I
even
will-
believe what they're saying.
I will say, for the most toxic kids, though, it's not a terrible ethical compass. You know
Of
what I'm
course,
saying?
no, I
And
agree.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like there's jokes that you can't make on Twitch that they're harmless even.
Yeah.
Right? And things that we've all said growing up that
Dude, things that are TOS on Twitch, like I would never even think are TOS on Twitch. Like
Yeah.
making like gender specific jokes.
yes, I avoid
you know what
them
I'm
at all
saying?
costs.
Those are the gnarliest ones, bro.
They're the
Those
most
are-
fun.
because it's such a charged
100%.
topic on
yeah,
Twitch.
yeah.
Like they react to what is actually happening on the platform.
Well, they also run the platform.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, so I have one question that I want to get in because I know Balla has to go relatively soon. I know we have one last banger question. So this is the question before the banger question. We've had two casters on the show before, you and Shio, right?
Yep.
Who wins in a prison rules cage fight?
Wow.
Oh God.
Wow.
I don't even-
Wow.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know, man.
I wanted to ask that
Shio's-
before.
Is Shio from the streets? Like, what's like? I don't know where he's from.
He's from Canada. He's gonna.
But like,
He's gonna probably
Shio's
beat your ass and
soft
say
as
sorry.
fuck. Shio's soft as
so-
fuck.
I don't know, man. He's way larger than me. He's just way larger than me. He will probably squish me and hug me. I don't know, man. I don't think we can fight in a prison. Like,
All right.
you Shio?
No,
you have to.
Prison rules. Prison
Yeah,
like
but-
there's one
Yeah.
room for employment at Epic Games, and this is how you get it. A real battle royale. You versus Shio
I win.
in a cage.
I win. Like, let's be
You win?
honest. I win.
And who's
Come on, I'm way
casting
more
that
crafty than
fight?
him.
Yeah, who's casting the fight?
Who's casting the fight?
Bro, oh my god, what if you beat the shit out of Shio and casted the fight at the same time? Like as you're doing it, you're just
Oh my
casting it.
God.
That's some badass shit. I like you. Fuck Shio.
Dude,
Who-
yeah, let's go.
I'm
with
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love Shio. I love Shio.
We're both casting the fight. That's how it would go down.
Who's
Oh my
casting
God.
it? No,
Shit.
who's casting
And we would
it?
be like verbally fucking going back
yeah.
at each other and then also killing each other at the same time.
Like, no, genuinely, Balla, who are you picking to cast the fight between you and Shio? So if the two best are off the table, who are you
Aussie?
picking?
Nah,
Nah.
not Aussie. Definitely not. I
Joe
think in a
Rogan.
prison fight, Joe Rogan.
No. From this
I mean-
community. From this community.
Look, I think I'd pick you actually. I think you're the
Really?
only person who can cast a ratchet ass fucking thing.
Let's go.
I'd pick
Bonder
Arab.
tournament,
dude.
whatever that
I'd
was.
pick Arab. I'd pick Arab.
That was hilarious.
Have you
You're the
seen
only person
have
to
you
pull that
seen me
off.
cast before? Like just little
Like a
He's
real-
not bad.
No,
He's
like
not
little
bad.
meme shit.
He's
Like,
good.
I mean, I have fun with it. Like,
He doesn't
Nah.
when we play.
Oh,
when we
I
play,
guess I did it-
when we
did
play-
I
Oh,
do it
actually,
with you
yeah,
the
I did. I
soccer
watched you
one, I
cast the
think.
Bucky thing.
the Bucky.
There was something with Bucky that you did.
Oh, yeah, I was just trolling. I think just casting.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it was
casting
that.
over him.
He
Oh,
he
yeah,
does
yeah.
it. He does it when we play Zone Wars and he dies. Like he'll just like cast. And it's so
fun.
annoying,
He casts a
too.
lot.
It's so
He casts a
fun.
lot.
It's
No.
so
It's
fun, Balla.
it's annoying because I listen. I know I'm not the most talented player, but his casting makes me very aware of the fact I'm not the most talented player.
Oh, quick select missing the edit.
Falling to his death yet again.
Okay.
How many times is it gonna scuff this one?
I like that. That answer was very heartwarming. I appreciate that. The last question.
All right.
As we do in this podcast, You were
I've been prepared
Yeah.
for this question.
Yeah, you
Oh,
were,
no way. No
you were
way.
disappointed.
Let's go.
You were disappointed that we didn't ask it to the last guest. I agree
Yeah.
with you. You
I
know,
was.
maybe we should keep that. Dusty said we should have asked it, and I said no. It might be too disrespectful, but you know, if we did ask her beforehand, it might have
I think it's
worked.
equal, man. If we ask the man, we ask the lady. You know.
Well, it's that the lady we don't really know much about, and all the men that we've basically asked it to
That's
so
why
far.
we get to know her. We get to know her
True.
by asking.
True.
Dusty pulled out his Frenchman. Right? That's right. You get to.
In a world where surgeries get too good, where we cannot tell the difference between a male to female or a female to male transgender, the hottest woman you know, Balla. Come on, don't say your wife. Stop. She's not listening.
If you say your wife, dude.
I've never seen your wife, but you know you got some celebrity crush. Or the hottest male, you know, you don't have to be gay to admit that a man might be
You have to
handsome
be gay
looking.
to, you know, suck it.
So like Chris Evans is what the ladies would pick, or you know,
always say
female.
Chris Evans.
Well, that's what the ladies normally pick. It's either like Chris Evans.
What
or-
about James Charles?
Nobody picks James Charles, Dusty. Nobody does.
Fuzzy would. Secret Fuzzy would.
No, but I would.
I would.
Listen. I would fuck James Charles' pussy. Right?
We're not
You
talking
know,
about number
hey,
one.
hey,
That's
I
not
would
how
like-
it
I would
works.
like-
Anyway,
So I would like to say that's dumb weird that you said that just because Like-
No,
okay.
but, like, you pick a male with a.
like I saw him yesterday and like that's weird to say, dude. Like you're just off topic on that one.
Okay, so a male, the hottest male, but with a vagina, or the hottest female, but with a dick. Who are you going down on? You're not fucking them. You're going down on them.
Every person has said the female with a dick, right?
No,
Really?
no. I think one person said
American Dad, I didn't watch that.
ADs, yeah. ADs going on.
Dude, I'm sorry. Like everybody's been wrong.
Wait, you cut
How are
out.
you
You cut
not-
out. Everyone's
cut
been
out.
wrong.
I'm
What?
just definitely going with the man, bro. How are you like?
Why?
Come on. Because
What?
How are you not gonna eat out Hugh Jackman's pussy? Like what? Like that man is like holy crap.
Pulls out
Let's
his
go.
claws.
Jason Momoa. Like
Oh yeah, you like?
come on.
I take it back. I take it back.
Jeez.
You're right. You're right.
I just
Hugh
see,
Jackman's
dude.
a good one.
Yeah, but like, bro, it's like you're doing the deed and you go to reach and it's just Hugh Jackman's like 8-pack or
Yeah,
whatever
but he-
it is.
I
yeah,
mean,
but he-
all
but he's
hey,
saying-
he's
but
like
he's
Hugh
saying-
Jackman's dick, right? So
Yeah.
like,
What'd you say?
Bro, he's
no,
saying that
not Hugh Jackman's dick. It would be like Alexander Daddario's dick. So you're
no,
looking
I know,
at this
I know.
perfect
but, like,
body
bring
or
it
whatever.
back.
I'll be sexy
Like
as
if
fuck.
it was Hugh Jackman and he was standing there, he was like, you would do it. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
By the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
guys, we didn't cut that out. His mic just cut out at the perfect time of him saying "suck my dick."
There you go. Perfect.
Hey, all I'm
Yeah.
saying is now that he said Hugh Jackman, you know what I'm saying?
It changes the
he's not-
tables, huh?
He's not a bad looking fella. You know what I'm saying? He's not a bad, you know, shit. I might have to amend my
Really?
statement. Shit. Dusty, shut up.
I mean, dude, Hugh Jackman's pretty hot,
Bro,
and I'm
yeah,
straight. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I've
Are you
kissed
sure
AD
though?
before.
Are you
I've
sure
licked
though? Are you sure
Edwin's
though?
face.
Are you
Mhm.
sure though, Arab? Because you know what they say, right? You don't know until you try it.
I've tried
So
it.
are you? So if you say you're straight, that means you sucked a dick before.
How do you think he got into the Twitch partner party before he was partner?
I
True.
didn't. I wish I was there.
Oh,
I think I
unlucky.
definitely earned my
He
right
was
to be
trying, he
there
was in the
last
back
year, but
alley
I wasn't.
trying.
Granted, this year it'll be the same situation, but with Edwin.
wait, what?
He'll have the numbers by then, but he wouldn't have been accepted yet, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna get
Well,
accepted a few months right after TwitchCon, and you're like, fuck.
Well, it doesn't matter. I get it anyways.
Yeah.
Yo, okay. So is your answer Hugh Jackman with a pussy?
100%.
Nice. Okay,
So-
cool.
Okay.
Good choice.
Wow.
Good choice.
Wow.
Thank you.
Balla,
Congrats.
is there anything you'd like to shout out before, well, your socials, whatever it is, before we go? Where can people find you for the next few months? What are your plans?
Sure. First off, I want to thank you guys because I've been watching this since the first episode, and as we got way fucking better. Just like, and it's
Thank
only
you.
been what is this, episode 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep improving. Like this shit is hella fun to watch, and there's no real look into somebody's personality like this podcast does.
Thank you.
So keep it up.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
You're a legend.
I'm just gonna be doing my same old thing. Next week I'm going to DreamHack, so I'll be doing a production and coverage of that with Shio. We'll be walking around with our phones on the floor of DreamHack because they're not fucking streaming the tournament, and there's no place to actually watch it.
Do
so
you have the best
we'll
internet?
be down there.
Like, did you
What's up?
make sure that you're getting like the top notch 5G or whatever?
We
it
don't
is?
know, man.
No
we
idea.
don't know if we don't get good on internet, we'll just record and post on Twitter later. Like, we'll do what we can. That's basically going to be it. I'm pretty sure the internet's going to be okay though, because I saw people walking around DreamHack Sweden like pretty much okay off of like nothing, and so hopefully it'll be fine. But if not, we'll just pre-record content and post it as frequently as we can. Like, there's plenty of different ways to skin the cat, I think. But yeah, everywhere on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah,
Balla
Lineage
TW.
Lineage just
W.
started.
Yeah. All right.
What?
Alinity
did you
just,
say?
you said skin
I
the
said
cat.
he-
He said Alinity just throws them instead of skinning them.
Oh, we can say that because they're on YouTube. We don't want to get
Yeah,
banned.
yeah.
They
Ah,
skin the cat on Twitch anyways. Like, just because
I
it's
mean,
sensitive. Like,
Just throw the
You
cat
just
instead.
can't- you
That's
just
what
can't
I
do
said.
they don't care. They don't care about animal violence.
Yeah, fair. You're right. I guess they don't. Fair.
Well, it was a pleasure having you, Balla. You guys can
Thank
catch
you.
him at whatever at Ballatw, every social at Ballatw. Don't forget, we are on Spotify. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you drop the like on YouTube, but then go to Spotify and hit play so it looks like our numbers are higher. And thank you guys for watching. See you guys later.
See you guys later.